Hey, this is Auntie Saucie, and today's video is about Mother's Day 2025. So I was late clocking in today because, it's Mother's Day. I was answering messages and responding, and so my auntie calls. And in our conversation, we're talking about how nothing positive is ever said about us on social media or on TV. All we get to know about Black people is, we got our booty hanging out and da da da. But guess what? All them beautiful scholars that graduated from A&T yesterday with degrees in bioengineering and chemistry, how come don't nobody ever talk about that stuff? And she said, because you ain't started doing your videos yet. Duh. I was already saying how, I want to kick off this whole Auntie Saucie, share my wisdom, share my light. And if I don't do it, who gonna do it? All y'all gonna hear about is bad stuff. So I want to spread some light on the positive things going on. Okay? All right. So they getting started. I clock in, do my little rides. I left 17 rides on the table to get today so I can get a bonus. So about 3 o'clock, I got a guy in a car and another one coming up after that. And I get a notice on the dash that my front right tire only got 21 pounds of pressure instead of 33 like the rest of them. Uh-oh, that's dangerous. So I drop off the guy. I look at where the next one's going, and they going over by Tate Street, which is close to UNCG and downtown, which is close to the Firestone on Market, where I got credit. So I put that one as the last ride, dropped him off at the Chipotle on Tate, went straight up Tate to Market, took Market straight up, turned into the... So if I had to break down, I was already on my route at a street that they could get to me. Turned into Firestone. It's going on 4 o'clock. They close at 5. You know they will turn you away if they think you're going to make them be there too late. But, fine dude named Antonio. He has a fiance. Don't even try it. But he was at the counter. He took care of me. So, I realized that I ain't seen that lock bolt for my, for the wheels to come off. And so I go to my car to look for it. I don't see it nowhere. Now, when I dropped it off at Firestone for my last tire, I gave them the whole little square package, that I usually keep in my glove box. But they left one lug nut in the car, and it fell, and it's rolling around somewhere on the floor, and I didn't know if I had sucked it up with a vacuum because I couldn't find it. Then I realized, it's not going to fit between them vacuums. It's in this car. But I couldn't find it. We looked in the trunk. They helped me look. We looked in the trunk. We looked under the spare tire. We looked in the glove box, in the door handles, under the seat, over the seat, in between the seat. Nobody could see it. So finally, I got the back door open on the driver's side, and they push up the passenger seat up, and I could see it up under the seat, hiding back up under the middle where we wouldn't have never seen it if we didn't push up that seat. So we was able to get the tire off, and the tire was $280. Might as well say $3. All right. So that lock went to the back tire that other Firestone had put on. It didn't work for the front one. But Antonio knocked it off. He got it done. Put on a new tire. Payment. I'm checking to see how much is left on the Firestone card. It was 140 something. So I know I had a good clear 140. And the other was going to have to come straight from the bank account. But the money in my bank account, I was trying to hold on to for my car note tomorrow, right? So I have a Meineke account as well. And I remember seeing something about you can use your Meineke card not only at Meineke, but for tires. So I almost went on and took it out of my bank, but some said, no, I want to run that Meineke through. Because I didn't almost pay that one down. It said, ka-ching, check approved. I said, car note money still where it's at. Okay. So at this point, it's 5:30. It get dark around 8. That means I got 2.5 good hours, 6:30, 7:30, 8, to make the other 8 rides that I need for this bonus. I clock in. My first ride is right around the corner. I go down Market to Washington, make a left, and go to the detention center downtown. You know, Greensboro downtown jailhouse off Washington. So I go there, and it's a $2 ride. You know, it's close. And I'm thinking, oh, Lord, I hope I ain't getting somebody out of jail for Mother's Day. Ain't no telling what I'm about to run into. But no, it was somebody that worked there. Matter of fact, the other folks, the homegirls, all called off sick today, and she had to work by herself. But she alone made sure those inmates had their dinner on Mother's Day. Shout out to her. And so as I'm pulling up on her block, she's saying, oh, I hope my son's got something ready for me. I said, well, if they don't, at least the Lyft driver tipped you. And I handed back her a bill that I had stuffed earlier. Usually I put cash away, all the way away. But some said, I'm going to need this tip money for somebody. So I knew that was an assignment. Just didn't know when. Pick her up. Drop her off. That was a blessing. Okay. Do you know my tire could have blew out on the highway? It could have blew out. It could have made it. It could have hurt me, somebody else. It could have just been so much worse. And there was a sign. I noticed that when I was on the highway last time, the passenger seat was like shaking more than usual. That was that rough riding, right? And then I remembered I did kind of hit the curb one time a little hard. And that must have been what my tires was low. And it was about to rupture. So thank goodness I was close to Firestone. Thank goodness they were still open. Thank goodness they still took me. If we wouldn't have found that tire lock, I might have had to come back a whole nother day, wait for a tow, da-da-da-da. None of that happened. It was all love. Oh, and the lady that I blessed with the tip, she was like, oh, you about to make me cry. I said, hey, take that up with the guy that told me to do it. You know what I mean? Just pay it forward to the next person. And she was like, she was very grateful. And there's so much joy in giving. And I couldn't have gone through the day I went through and that little 2-hour stress thing without looking out for the next person. And, even though she had to work that whole place by herself today, she didn't complain about, how the other workers did her. She just, she said, well, I'm kind of used to it. It happens. With that attitude, I felt like she needed to be blessed. But let me tell you where I got the blessing from. My very first ride, picked up a young lady who also has a side hustle doing arts and crafts. And that's my thing too. So I had to make sure we exchanged, Instagram info. Matter of fact, I got a shirt on order from her. And she don't know that her blessing to me was, I passed it on. It was a blessing to somebody else. See, we got to look out for each other. God will use you and what you go through to bless somebody else. Just, be open to it. It's going to come. Oh my goodness. So what else? Okay, so it's kind of slow. Ain't nobody at the ain't nobody really in the streets because they all with their mama barbecuing and at the restaurants, whatever. It ain't like, a school day or whatever. Traffic's light. The rides are slow. But, it was clicking on. By 7 o'clock, I think I still had maybe 6 to go. I forget. All I know is my second to the last ride, they said something about Winston-Salem. I said, bloop, lies you tell. And then after that, I got one right across the street from the one I was already at. I put on last ride, took them downtown, clocked out, stopped and got some dinner, brought it on into the house. Now, if you talk to somebody else, they would have been harping on, oh my God, my tire broke down. Oh my goodness, life is going in. Oh Lord, what am I going to do? But no. When you put out good intentions, you get back good intentions. If you the person that let somebody get over when they would have had to wait 5 minutes if you didn't let them, when you need to get over, somebody let you over too. It just comes back full circle. One hand works in the other. Yin and yang. What's that thing with the half black, half white? It's all It's a rotation, but at the same time, it's all connected. Full circle. What did Erica Badu say about $3.60? Baby, it's all round and round. It's all a cycle. There was another blessing and I can't think of it right away. But, okay. So this morning, the reason why I was late was because I was on the phone talking about how I need to share these stories. Because it makes me so mad that Black people are out here doing all these wonderful things and nobody ever want to talk about it. All they ever want to show on TV or on the media, on these blogs, on the gram, is our booties hanging out and us, bonnets on and laziness and we don't want to work. No, we don't want to be treated like slaves. There's a difference. But you will respect us. Because if we ever woke up to how smart we really are, we can rule things. Unity, if we ever figured out who we really are and walk in our purpose like we've been doing, listen, when everybody else was still in caves, not bathing, we were civilized with universities and knowledge. We come from royalty. At school, all you hear about slavery is how they snatched them up from Africa like they was butt naked and not doing nothing. No, they pulled kings over here to this land. Oh, and I met one today. I met a man today from Virginia whose great grandmother, I don't know how many generations, came over here. She was a queen. He supposed to have sovereignty rights, and he working on it. Like everything was connected. All the things about today were like connected. Like one hand would wash the other, and it was like confirmation. Matter of fact, his story is deep. Oh, I have to tell you about this other lady I picked up. I picked her up from the bar. Thank goodness she ordered a ride since she was saucy. And she got in. You know how you talk a little louder and you're just a little more aggressive when you got a little sauce in your system. Well, we ended up going to take her home. And after she figured out she wasn't for to tell me how to get to her house, I said, so how was your Mother's Day? And I found out that she found out her husband is cheating. Well, we talked about how coincidences. What was the chances of her happening to drive right by and see that woman in her husband's car when she did? That wasn't a coincidence. She said she had a feeling, but she wasn't sure. Sound like she needed some confirmation to me. That sound like a blessing. Because who wants to be run? Have you ever been in a position where everybody knew you was being fooled but you? See, it's not the cheating part don't be hurting you. It's the fact that all y'all met the chick and didn't tell me. Okay, so at the end of the day, by the time we pulled in front of her house, I was like, did you like that route? And she did. And I said, well, rest in the knowing. That was my last statement when she got out. And can't nobody tell me that woman didn't need to hear that. Okay? So, here's something that happened to me when I was either in the 3rd or 4th grade. All I know is I was living with my grandmother Mary on Vernon. And something happened at that house. My uncle snuck through the back door and didn't want me to tell my grandmother that he was there. I didn't understand why. And something happened that made me want to go outside of myself and like leave my body. And once things were over and I tried to come back to reality, I asked God to help me because I knew that good girls who, God would take care of the good girls, right? So I made a vow that very day to be a servant. I was like, I'm trying hard in school. I was making A's and my family was so dysfunctional. But in the midst of it, I knew that as long as I applied myself as hard as I could, then it was going to be okay, right? And, I didn't realize what I was going to say today, but I said it, I meant it, and who going to tell me I'm lying? Okay, so the I prayed that if there really was a God and he could hear me, that I wanted to be on his team. Cat Williams kind of reminded me a little bit of that conversation when he talked about when he made up his mind how he wanted to do things. And I didn't realize I was going to react to my own stuff. I thought I was just going to be telling my story, but let me stay on track. So I had a talk with God when I was still in elementary, and I asked him to use me, whatever way he needed to. Didn't nobody have to know but us, and what else matters, right? And so at that point, I didn't believe in, my abilities, right? The fact that I could see things happen before they happen. All I know was I wasn't finna use it for no bad. I wasn't finna let somebody find out and use my gifts for lotto or something. I wanted to use it for his purpose. And he would figure out for me what that purpose would be. I didn't even know what it was. I'm just signing up blind volunteering. I know one thing. I don't want to be on that other team. I knew that. So my family wasn't really a church-going family. Matter of fact, I can remember one time, the last time I stopped by to visit my grandmother, actually, and it was on a Sunday, and they had preached that day about somebody in here need to have a talk with somebody they've been away from, and blah, blah, blah. I went straight there with my brand new baby in my arms. Dion was little. And she folded up some dollar bills and handed it to the older kids, and she talked about how, she ain't really about trying to retry nothing. If something don't work, if a shoe hurt her foot, she said she just assumed just throw it away. So I didn't bother visiting her again after that. Anyways, I never knew to believe in God from inside court. Other people led me to God, okay? If it wasn't a nice teacher with a pleasant voice and, to make you think there's kind people in this world like me. It's not a curse to be kind, because, these streets will have you thinking being soft is, is like asking to be taken advantage of. Like you can't do what you got to do when somebody try you as a Christian, right? I'm Christian. I ain't stupid. There's a difference. So, and I say Christian, but I don't know what to call it. All I know is God is real and karma's real, and what you put out comes back to you. You can take it how you want it. You ain't got to put a name on it, but you can live by the principles and see it and watch them work and see things moving in your favor, and you don't even know how you had a whole... Oh, I didn't take a picture of the tire, but you can see that silver thing going around it. So, oh my goodness, today was amazing. Oh, and by 8:30, I got that. I had to turn down a ride to Winston-Salem, but I got my quota, got my bonus on top of whatever was left to go with the car note. You feel me? Oh, so I didn't finish telling you about the lady I met that was creative. Okay. My first ride today, picked up a lady who quit, but she already got another job lined up. No names. She was into artwork. So the same 5 that she tipped me in the morning was the same tip that I gave to the lady who worked the jailhouse by herself. Okay. And we're getting off track. So much going on. It was just such a blessing today. So, I reached out to her about a shirt. I want a shirt. You can copy this idea if you want to, because we can spread it around and make it a thing. Make kindness a thing. People be trending because one person doing the TikTok dance, everybody doing it. One person's flipping a fan, everybody doing it. One person, whatever, TikTok this, and now it's a trend. Can we set a trend about some kindness? Now that needs to be the new trend. Be kind.